Like many of us, some of the best advice I've ever received was from my father. This is the one that I really remember the most and in fact consider the most. I was a young kid, probably 13, 14 years old. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. And I had screwed up somehow. I did something boneheaded and got caught. And so my father was giving me a hard time. And I must have been trying to make excuses for myself and, claim it wasn't my fault and so forth. And my father must have become pretty exasperated because at one point he just said, "Lon, listen, no matter what happens, it's your fault." Now, I know how that must sound. I mean, the guy's losing it. He's upset. He's just talking gibberish. He just wants this conversation over. But me, oh my gosh, nothing has really hit me like that before. It was just revelatory. The idea was truly empowering to me because what it said was, no matter what happens, I have some degree of ownership in the outcome. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that not everything is my fault. I get that. But the principle is really empowering to me. Here's the idea. It's your bed, you sleep in it. You made your bed, you sleep in it, that sort of thing. And you have some level of autonomy and influence and control over what happens. And so if something wonderful happens, congratulations, keep doing it. If something awful happens, all right, that's too bad. Let's analyze it. Let's understand what happened and think about it for the next time. So jump ahead 10 years or whatever, and I'm flying down the road with my then girlfriend, now wife of 30 years, and we're going about 50 miles an hour, and we're coming up to a stoplight. Now, the stoplight is green, and there's a bunch of cars there, but I'm not really paying attention, and what I don't realize is the light had just turned green, moments before it had been red, which means those cars lined up at the light were barely moving. And here I am careening down the road at 50 miles an hour. Well, I realized this pretty suddenly, and I just slam on the brakes, and I missed the car in front of me by a hair's width. But then, right as I breathe a sigh of relief, bam! Behind me, the car slams into us, totals both cars. It's an absolute mess. Well, now, I didn't get the citation. It wasn't my fault, right? But no, I really internalized that as, you know what, Lon? This is your fault. There's something you could have done to avoid this accident. I could have looked in my rear view mirror. I could have looked side to side to see if I could find a route for escape. I could have been paying more attention at the speed of the cars in front of me. The point is, even though it wasn't my fault as far as the law was concerned, I internalized it as I had an influence on that outcome. So now whenever I'm in that situation and I'm having to stop short because I wasn't paying attention, I'm always looking in the rear view mirror. I'm always looking side to side because I learned the lesson from that day and really internalized the message from my father that no matter what happens, it's your fault. So there's this week's piece of best advice that I've ever received.